All right, it's day 2. Today is, I forget what the name of the show is. I'll have to put that in later. It's a show near Tulsa. Last night was Dragon on Grand. The whole day yesterday, through that entire trip, I only had to make 2 adjustments to my idle speed. Had to pop them up just a little bit. And she's just running great, man. I'm just so beyond pleased with the way the car has done on this trip so far. Just the tiniest bit of oil off the dipstick, and yeah, man, it's shaping up to be another great day. I'm certain of it.
Maybe 30 minutes outside of Ponca City, we spotted this exploded fan blade and met this guy.
No, it's a Volkswagen Type 3 notchback. Are you cool if I put you on YouTube? Come off the street.
Dude, I don't care.
We got a truck coming. All right, just repeat what you just said. That just made my whole day, man. What did you say when you rolled up?
This is the baddest motherfucking car I've ever seen in my life.
I love it, dude.
And then we just had to stop and see this retired firefighting robot.
Tulsa Port of Catoosa.
As always, there were plenty of buses and bugs of all different kinds. I'm hoping the feel of the show manages to come through in this. Check out this guy stopping to help a kid with a simple bike repair. There were loads of people walking and rolling all around. It almost reminded me of the boardwalk at Pacific Beach when I was a kid. Now, I won't lie, this is one of those few bugs that really draws me in, but I have also been enchanted by this dog. I'm a sucker for a friendly dog. The wheels look really great on this car, and the interior is original to my eye. Something about the relative simplicity. The chrome rings could have been too much, but just managed to still be a bold accent.
Pretty sure I might have seen that at Eureka Springs, but I did not see this.
At first blush, this is obviously not a stock OG trim notchback. But as you get closer and closer, you realize it's far more than just that.
Very custom. Very custom.
Hey, wait, is that a radiator?
Yeah?
Yeah, just grab the center of it, pull it up. You gotta pull forward. I got a little bit of,
Oh, okay.
got a little bit to play with on the.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's super custom, man.
Yep. It's a 2001 Cabrio that identifies as a notch.
Heck yeah.
Many of you may already know how I feel about late models, so I'll just say that Kias are the least offensive, and this is one really nice example. Check out that sleek roof rack. My brother's first car was a 72 or 74 Type 14 Ghia, and they'll always hold a special place in my heart. I'm gonna admit it, I kinda like the fenderless look. I'm gonna give some credit to the creativity on this one as well. Anybody out there not remember Sesame Street? And here's another look at Oscar's green bug. You ever see little kids at a potluck table make a beeline for the desserts? Yeah, that's me right now. As I told the owner of this absolutely stunning Type 34, I never much cared for Type 34s in my youth. But in recent years I've changed my tune, and I'm really starting to like them quite a lot. talked with the owner for a while, and I couldn't remember nor fit all the things he shared about the car in this video. Suffice it to say that he is passionate, and it shows in the final result. Part of the restoration of this car involved having the air cleaner information sticker reprinted. Is it any wonder I like this guy so much? I'm hoping to run into him some more. And on to one of the few other Type 3s that day. I'm so glad it was an early model.
And he's got the reverse lights. I want to add those to mine.
Look at those beautiful taillights. It seems these two guys know one another. He's even got the air cleaner sticker. I really like this car. Very clean with pop-outs and beautiful steering wheel.
68 it must be.
Now I had actually intended to ask him about this. The car is listed as a 69, but this little notch in the fuel fender area leads me to believe that the fender belongs on a 68. And just take a look at one of the most beautiful hoods ever designed for any car. Now don't misunderstand me, I'm not hating on Type 2s. I really like them quite a bit. Naturally, I prefer early model. In fact, let's get into the weeds for just a second here.
Okay, this is the only station wagon
I agree.
With most air-cooled vdubs, the cars need to be 69 or older, and the older the better to a large degree.
I love that.
However, with buses, it goes a step further for me. 69 wasn't actually old enough for me. Never mind how turn signals and taillights got huge in 1970. For some reason, buses did away with the gorgeous embossed V in the nose and replaced it with a rectangle pretty early on. So, with not a lot of research, I believe the buses have to be a split window for me to really enjoy them. With all of that said, there are nearly as many buses out there as bugs. It seems like people are just dying to pay way too much for these vehicles. I really don't understand it. To be clear, I don't begrudge anybody paying a reasonable amount for them, and it probably should even be more on average than for a bug. If you want to see what I'm talking about, just go look at the classifieds on thesamba.com. It's crazy. Now, even though this bus isn't technically old enough for me to get really excited, I would roll in it all day long. They've done an absolutely fantastic job with it. Now, I didn't personally engage with Groovy Uncle Funk, but my buddies did, and apparently he is a character. Check him out on Instagram at Groovy Uncle Funk. I understand he has lived in this bus for like 5 years or something and is a stand-up comedian.
What's up, Chad? This is fantastic.
This guy has something pretty special, as you can see here.
SO34 Westphalia 64. That gorgeous, gorgeous nose.
My buddy Chad and I talked with him for a bit. He explained that the SO34 has an uncommon feature where the front seats flip around. The bus is used for camping, and it seems very well outfitted for it. It's even got a heater installed. So I've never claimed to be especially knowledgeable about Type 2s, so I'll admit it was news to me to learn that the Westphalia is a separate company. What does Westphalia produce, you wonder? You guessed it, campers, or caravans, as my brethren over the pond would say. The VW Westphalia buses would be shipped stripped to Westphalia to get whatever package. It makes sense when you hear it, right? Guess what else? He's got a Westphalia caravan from over the pond. Much like my notchback, these were never sold in the United States, and this here is a private import made by the current owner. Did you happen to notice that it's for sale? How cool is this piece? No surprise to see that he has taken very nice care of it too. Look at that wood. For whatever reason, the idea of having wood which comes from another country is a completely different level of special to me. What kind of tree was that? Probably something we don't even have here. I know it's ridiculous, but I imagine a crew of men speaking in German felling trees, which would later become the natural paneling in here. So, when you call him and make the deal on his caravan, make sure to remember my commission, okay? I recognize that as I talk about the particulars of what I like with classic vdubs, I run the risk of having people say, "You call yourself the vdub junkie?" And that may be fair. But I would argue that loving something doesn't mean you can't be critical of it. For the most part, I tend not to be especially into single cab Type 2s. As soon as I knew there was a double cab, that was pretty much it for me. That being said, here are a couple of super cool single cabs. Did you happen to notice the bullet turn signals and especially small tail lights? Not to mention those fuel doors. If you've never seen one of those racks covered in canvas, that can really bring it together nicely too. There's those safari windows and bullet turn signals again. Did I happen to mention the turn signals? I was watching this clip thinking about what I could say as I pan around the front of this beauty, when it occurred to me that nothing I could say would compare with the background audio already in place.
My buddy Ozark's Hillbilly would be excited about that. Oh, look at this. I've wanted these kinds of wheels for a long time, but they're probably not the right size.
If you're curious, those are known as Porsche phone dials.
Never mind the fact I'm in no business to buy any. Look at all that storage. So cool.
Now I know that the engine tin surrounding the motor on a Type 1 is important, as it keeps the hot air on the lower half of the motor from mixing with the top side of the motor. I also know that people have been getting away with not using it for years. The Type 3s don't have that design concern. Did you happen to notice that suitcase speaker? Kind of a fun choice for mounting. Of course, a low-frequency speaker really needs a thick, dense, non-absorbent material to surround it, but maybe it's lined with something.
Here's another one I recognize from Eureka Springs. And sure enough, it's from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Yeah, they had a little drive getting here. So a gentleman I was talking to just told me that this show is only 5 years old. I'm saying it's got a pretty good turnout for only being 5 years old.
Time for me to reveal a bit more of my oddities. Alright, it's not a late model, so that's a good start. Love the gravel guards, love the paint, wheels look great, that white interior looks fantastic. I just know that it's a blast to drive with the top down, and the top down is very cool looking too. However, I would not want to have to deal with a convertible. I know, I'm a weird guy. If I were choosing paint for a bug, it's hard to imagine I wouldn't choose two-tone. It's always been my favorite. Years ago, I owned this 66 Bug. That's a Mercedes green, and the strip in the middle is 2 pearl shades lighter.
Baby. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. We're going to towel off and hydrate. Be back
Man, I'll tell you, I'm not usually excited by bugs too much, you know that, but the paint on this, or whatever it is exactly, I don't know, but it is kind of cool. I'm not sure what they did to get this effect. So neat. And I do love how sick that looks, man. Oh, I love those 5 spokes, man. That's pretty. 61.
I will say that I don't know if the Safari windscreen and rear glass are necessarily a good idea. I'm a little bit on the fence about it. Fortunately, if you were considering it, you could ask somebody who's already done it. Would you do it again?
No. This looks similar to Ellis's kit car, but I don't think it's his. Yeah, it's not. Randy is not Ellis, but it's a similar deal. Huh.
Those for some reason, Volkswagen.
Wow.
And it was a little bit shallower, so I bottomed out on the threads, but I didn't. Yeah. Who would notice you did that? Yeah. So I'm like, well, I need to get 60 on there.
It's a bit like one of these curiosity stores, but on wheels.
Yeah, it's what? Right to the head. And I'm like, I'm serious. The head's junk. Yeah. It's aluminum head. So my wife's like, are we going? Are we going? We're supposed to go to California. This yeah. Yeah, well, I'll figure something out. Yeah. Don't go out here for a few hours. Get out of your grill. First one's open pretty good. Second, it up. Third one, I strike over. It went off the hole. Easy out, ain't happening. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. Just drink water now. Adding grease don't stir down.
They've even got bouncy houses set up.
Vendors.
I took a stroll down vendor lane just to get an idea of what all they have. Vendors don't generally hold too much interest for me, as every dime I spend there is one less that goes into my car or whatever other projects. It's cool to see that they put this kind of effort in, though. I can only imagine what kind of trash I would get put together for a show if left to do it alone. It certainly wouldn't have a bunch of vendors, complimentary water bottles and chilled water, and even food options. That's right, food. About a minute and a half into this video, you caught a very quick glimpse of the food trucks, but I failed to specifically go after video of them. This guy had some pretty neat old bikes for sale, and he was ready to make a deal. I'm telling you what, he even told me so. Poppy's has a whole host of products available with some pretty good demonstration items set out for you to inspect for yourself. Now, they haven't contracted with me to promote their products, and I have no experience with them, but if these parts are indicative of the results you'd see, I'll say it looks like it could be worth looking into. It'll likely be quite a while before I'm to that point with my car, though. Okay, it's all coming together for me now. Remember that car I was geeking out over earlier on the paint effect? Seems maybe they've got Poppy's or something similar in use. I haven't done the research yet, but I don't think Poppy's is causing the color effect, just the protective coat over the paint. I could be wrong. Either way, it looks pretty cool. Even if I did want to do some sort of cool patina thing with my car, I have a few too many oddities in the paint. Remember how I said vendors don't hold much for me? Parts is a whole different thing. I could lose some time here. Check out that 7-Up cooler there. There really weren't any Type 3 parts to speak of, but that was a rather old Type 2 steering wheel and column there. I'd hang that on my freaking wall. Okay, bonus round coming up here in just a moment. That's a Type 3 hood there. Why did I walk right past it? What's wrong with it? Well, that's about it for me. I got there a little late and left a little bit early so I could keep on traveling with my buddies. Next year I'll plan to stay longer. Here are some stills of some of the more interesting things at the show. Not only is this bike really cool, it's got this generator-powered headlamp. The knurled wheel on the generator presses against the rear wheel. I saw this many years ago and was instantly fascinated by it. As Aaron, Chad, and I made our way back toward Northwest Arkansas, we stopped in some shops, finding some pretty fantastic pieces. These were all in Claremore, Oklahoma. Yes, there is a story behind the clothespins. If I'd had a trailer and some Benjamins in my pocket, this would have totally come home with me. That's an apple peeler. A friend of mine has a more elaborate version which does several at once. And yes, I am a sucker for interesting currency.
Well, I hit about 13 miles outside of Siloam, and it's kind of been raining and stuff, and I've had my headlights on.
In a quarter mile, continue on to US 412 East, US 59
South. Went out, then it came back on again, and it kind of keeps doing that. But for the last couple of minutes, it's just kind of out again. So, I don't know. I had a couple of issues while I was in Ponca City, but I was going really slow, back and forth.
Continue on US 412 East for 29 miles.
I just thought, well, you know, that really low RPM might have been an issue, and so then I would like leave it in first gear, you know, to have higher RPMs, and that would pretty much deal with it. So I don't know, I think I know that I need to replace the bearings. I already have those. I've already replaced the brushes, so not really sure yet, but something I'm going to have to look at, it seems. Well, I just pulled into my garage. Got back from a 2-day road trip with two of the best buddies that a guy could possibly have. Because of the fact that I went with them, I saw some places that I would have never seen otherwise. Saw a couple of really fantastic car shows, had a great time, and covered like 490 miles on this little car. So what was the damage? All right, 490 miles in this little car. I took my full complement of tools, the same tools that I take when I drive anywhere in town, and I used 3 of them. One of them was this short stubby that I used twice to incrementally increase the idle speed. And I used a 13mm wrench and a wire brush to clean my battery post. That's it. No other issues. Aside from the fact that my generator light came on a little while ago and then went out and then came on again. and then went out again. We'll see. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Tell everybody you know in the entire world about what a great channel this is.